Well, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the research that we do in leadership in the school, something about the history, something about the personnel. And the first thing I need to say to you is that this research is oriented both towards theory and towards practice. And if you're interested in theory and its application in practice, then maybe this is the place for you. I'm going to tell you briefly about 3 or 4 research projects which we're engaged in and in which we've published. And you'll see from this brief description that we mix research on school leadership at all levels with action research and with research on teachers' work and lives. And we think there's a clear conceptual connection between these. So the first project I'll tell you about is something which began, actually it's an international project which began 10 years ago. It's called the International Successful School Principals Project, and this involves now 20 countries worldwide. And in this project we're looking at studies of what makes principals succeed and sustain success in their work in all kinds of schools in different contexts, primary, secondary, schools in challenging circumstances and in different countries. So more about that later perhaps. The second project relates to a 3-year project which we conducted in England in English schools. And this was looking at the way in which successful school leadership connects to pupil learning and pupil outcomes. Quite a complicated project and the first of its kind with both primary and secondary schools in the world. That was supported by the British government and by the National College for School Leadership. The third project is a project on teachers' work and lives. That was a 4-year national project with 300 teachers in 100 schools in 7 regions in this country, in which we drew also upon the international literature. And that project really began to trace the positive and negative influences on teachers as they work through a career in different schools and try their best to be effective at all times in all circumstances. So those are 3 of the projects in which we've been involved. A project in which we're involved currently is looking at teacher and school leader resilience. And many of you who are watching this will know about the importance of being resilient in challenging conditions of change. And so we welcome you into our course and into our centre, especially if you're interested in these areas: school leadership, successful school leadership, teachers' work and lives, and other projects related to this. All right, well, I have talked a little about some of the projects, large and small scale, in which we're involved. And I want now to talk just a little bit about the way we do those projects, the kinds of research in which we're engaged. We're engaged in what's called mixed methods research. So, in other words, we see there are several ways to tackle a problem, to pursue an investigation. Some of them will be quantitatively oriented, some of them qualitatively oriented. And ideally, certainly with large-scale projects, a mixed method approach is the one that we use. With the smaller scale projects, and we do many of those with teachers in schools, both in this area and nationally and in other countries, we pursue an applied research, rather more qualitative, case studies, for example, practice-based inquiry, for example, and action research. So, and we, within our grouping, our leadership research grouping, we contain all of those competencies, skills and interests. The important thing you should remember also about the research which we do is it's largely collaborative. We enjoy working together and we enjoy working with our students to promote their research in their own countries, in their own schools and their own education systems. Finally, I'd like to talk about something which is unique to this university, to this School of Education and to our Leadership Research Centre. And this is the partnership we have with the National College for School Leadership. This college is a government college. It was set up 10 years ago and is located on our campus. And both in this country and abroad, we've established a unique, exclusive partnership where we work together to deliver programs of headship and middle leader and senior leadership training and development. So that's an important and a part of our work and growing in importance, both in our campuses in Malaysia and in China, in Ningbo, and indeed elsewhere. And we hope that we'll be able to introduce you to that partnership in different ways as you progress through this program.